Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today I am back in Northshore Zoo. I almost said Summit Sanctuary. Gosh, not anymore. That one's done. I am back in Northshore Zoo, working again on my maple farm barn area with the American Standard donkeys and the chickens. And it also, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, this also has a gift shop. It's the country store. And a little coffee stand that is meant to be like a hot coffee and donuts. Well, actually, in my head it's really a hot cider because there's also a little apple orchard on this farm. And cider is so common in, you know, like hot cider and donuts. That's such a fall New England fall thing, but alas, there's no hot cider in the game, so settled for hot coffee, and we're gonna pretend there's also donuts. So yeah, still working on this. I think I have one more episode of this because it was quite a long. There was just a lot of detail that I ended up putting in, and I felt pretty lost, not gonna lie, doing the souvenir shop, the country store. I just really struggled to make it feel like a full country store. I don't know. Even now, there's something missing. I don't know what it is. Maybe like wall decor. I don't know. It just feels empty to me for some reason. So I may go back at some point and put more details there, but yeah, for now I'm gonna keep plugging away, and eventually there will be donkeys. And you might have noticed I don't have any cinematics at the end of these episodes. I'm not sure that I will, to be honest. I think I might just save it for the end, for the tour, and or release like shorts. Maybe I might release shorts. I don't know. I'm still deciding what I will do, because to be honest, nothing really until this point has been finished. So even now I have been going back and putting more like details into things, and so it just doesn't. I just feel like this zoo in particular, because it's a diorama and it's just going to be a bit smaller, and I am more scattered in my working, that this zoo will be better served just having a zoo tour episode at the end to show everything off. Because I think that's the only way you're going to get an actual good view of it. So yeah. I want to talk about one more thing, kind of a continuation of what I was talking about in the last episode, which I literally just recorded, so that's why it's just on my mind still. And that is things that I would like to see in Planet Zoo 2. I talked all about the conservation program elements that I would like to see, and there's just I feel like one more major thing that I really, really, really want, that I feel like would enhance the feeling of the zoo so much, and that would be true ambassador animals in the way that they like actually exist in zoos. So in case you've never heard the term before, basically an ambassador animal is like usually a smaller animal, but always a sort of more docile animal that can be taken out in the public. And sometimes they perform, but not always. Sometimes they just, you know, hang around and look cool because that's all they need to do. But basically, it's an animal that the public can get up close with and sort of interact with more personally, and in doing so they'll draw a stronger like connection to that animal and the conservation efforts around that animal or similar animals, right? So the point of the ambassador animal really is to draw public support and money. And it's super common. It's something that happens in, I don't know any zoo that doesn't have ambassador animals, even if those animals are as simple as like a hissing cockroach or something. I know my local zoo has that. Some smaller reptiles are really good for that. Some small primates are okay, but usually not quite as good. And then a lot of like small mammal type creatures are okay as well. Usually birds are a good one because they're a little bit more simple to kind of control and have just hang out. But yeah, so I would love to see some of these like exhibit animals, for instance, the zookeepers or whatever be able to take them out of the little exhibit, out of the little glass box, and maybe do a little show, even if it's literally right in front of the exhibit. Like, how cool would it be, right? If the zookeeper walks over to the boa constrictor or one of these like bigger non-venomous snakes, takes it out of its enclosure and just kind of does a talking animation with the boa constrictor around its shoulders. And the crowd gathers around. Like, it would be very simple, I think, the way I understand, to kind of animate this small interaction. And again, I don't even care if this only exists for a handful of the animals. If it's just, you know, a handful of the exhibit animals that you can do this with, maybe one or two of the habitat animals they can get, you know, they have the animal talks and the feeding that the animals kind of come forward for. So it's not too much of a stretch to say maybe they have like a small animation of sorts where they're sitting on a pedestal or something, you know. Even the palace cats, I know I've seen a lot of videos where they have this little hole in the glass, and there's a whole little feeding event where the zookeeper rather, will put a piece of raw meat on some tweezers like through the little hole in the glass, and the palace cats know that it's feeding time. They come and stand on their little log and wait for the food, and they get really excited, and the guests get a really up close view of them, like, and the keepers get to talk about, at that point, the endangered nature of the palace cats and all this. So it's just like, it's such a thing that happens in zoos that I would absolutely die for, and it would be not that hard, I think. That's the thing. It's as simple as like animating some kind of zookeeper talk, which could, you know, it could last like a minute. It could be the same thing over. I just feel like having the zookeepers, or even, you know, something that they do a lot in the Columbus Zoo is they'll just have the zookeeper take out some kind of ambassador animal that's like relatively good. Like tortoises, I think, are also good ambassador animals, because obviously you can't, it's not like they're gonna run away. So they have the tortoise and they take it out and they just kind of walk along the zoo path and interact with guests and talk about, sometimes they draw a crowd, but sometimes they're just moving and kind of talking to the guests as they pass and giving them a quick little info segment, and then they're on their way. And so similarly to like how we have the tour guides in Planet Zoo right now, just make, or even the mascots, like they do the same thing, right? that in Planet Coaster 2, they walk around. Occasionally they do an animation of sorts, the pre-planned animation, but they have a route. You can plan the route, you can let them free roam. It would be the same principle, except they have some kind of animal along with them, or they're holding it, or you know, it's nearby, like maybe a bird on the arm, and they just walk around and they interact with guests. Sometimes the bird flaps, sometimes it flies in a, you know, like how simple it would be, but how much life that would add to the game. Like insane amount of dynamic element to having that walk around your zoo. And just having things like that happen, like just seeing the animals out and about more in the way that you kind of would in a real zoo would be so cool. And I just think it would be fun management. Like personally, I turn off all of these like management elements in my sandbox zoo because what I like doing is building a cool zoo. And the reason I like building a cool zoo versus actually playing the game is because a lot of the management doesn't feel in any way related to a zoo. It just feels like business management, which is fine, which is important. I'm not saying you shouldn't have that. Absolutely. You should have the element of like managing your money and whatnot. But like ultimately making sure that everything has power, making sure my queue lines are good, making sure that the view of the guests is like unobstructed in the way that the game actually requires it to be, those don't feel like zoo management. That just feels like business management. And so I would love in Planet Zoo going forward with Planet Zoo 2 if they added more elements that feel more genuine to zoo management. So as I mentioned in the previous episode, all these like conservation breeding things, like, you know, having space for unexpected animals, having space for different groups and whatnot, and then breeding, like having reproduction actually be a whole event for the zoo, like, you know, throw a birthday party, you know, all these things. Like it's such a, do you know how many events the zoo, my previous local zoo, had for the twin elephants that were born? So many events, so much advertising for these babies, because it's such an event in zoos to have offspring. Like healthy births in zoos is such a big deal, and it doesn't feel like a big deal in this game. It just feels like you could just ignore it. Like sometimes you come back to your zoo and you're like, oh my god, I forgot to turn the birth control on to my animals, and now there's 800 tortoises, and you know, like I wish, don't want the game to be hard, and certainly I don't want to force these elements on people if they don't want them. So like I'm all for optional elements like this, but man, just some real zoo management would be so nice. I would be so happy. And I kind of like, I think I said this in a comment to some of the more popular zoo builders and whatnot, but like I really feel like if they get Planet Zoo 2 right, if they do everything that the community wants and like really focus on the elements that we all love and kind of disregard the elements that most of us don't like as much, this will be the game, like the game of all time, you know. Already I was feeling like Planet Zoo is going to be the game that I just sort of play forever, because it really has felt like it can carry on despite its age. But Planet Zoo 2 has so much possibility for that, man. But that's the end of the episode, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content from me. I post videos for Planet Zoo every Tuesday and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!